Welcome, everybody. Today's Dynamics 365 Tech Talk is on the warehouse mobile application, what we're calling V4. It's our platform update. My name is Nicole Joyce. I'm a principal FastTrack solution architect here at Microsoft. Presenting for us today, we have Mirza Abdic, Martin Dainty, and Pedro Souza. So team, over to you.
Hello, everyone. Hello from Copenhagen. This is Mirza speaking, and we are here to present you the new warehouse mobile application that we also call V4, which is bringing lots of news, and it's also using the completely new technology. So today we will walk you through a rich agenda, and we hope also that you will ask us many questions. We will talk a little bit why React Native and what does it mean to change from the old platform to a new one. Also a little bit about new features, which are rather plenty, a timeline where we will be explaining when public review will happen, because we are just closing the private preview, and then how we will handle GA. Some known issues that are more maybe differences compared to what you have now, and when eventually deprecation of the version 3.07 will happen, and we will of course try to answer on all of your questions. So why React Native? We have been at the end of the life of Xamarin, and we needed to select new platform, and there was a multiple options, but we settled on, as in the Microsoft, you want to use not only our products but the best products available. So we settled on the React Native, as it is the largest front-end development platform known to humans as we speak, and has lots of capabilities that we haven't had in the Xamarin, that we will be able to enrich our front end and back end with, and give you some features that was not possible before, and even more importantly, give features very quickly. And it gives us possibility to give you more complex features, more complex gestures in the UI for usability, and do this in a controlled and a rapid way.
Hello, everyone. I'm Martin, lead designer on the team, and today I'll talk a little bit about some of the design changes that are coming. First of all, we're adding a lot of new color themes, and the reason for that has been based on feedback. The colors that we have today have been used in many use cases that wasn't intended originally. Some use it to identify their own device. Some use it to show which part of the warehouse do they belong in. And the result of that is, with only 4 colors, some were sort of forced into having some, you could say, less ideal colors to work with, like the high contrast modes that weren't intended for normal use. So what we're doing now is we're adding 10 new dark colors and 10 new light colors and 2 new high contrast modes. And we are giving you a little sneak peek here. These are the colors that the workers will now be able to choose from, and you can see them in light mode as well. And overall, we're also adding some small tweaks around the app to just heighten sort of the, you could say, design quality. Overall, you can see the illustrations will now also match the colors of the theme, and many other small improvements. And here you can see another sneak peek of what different screens of the app will change to look like. So it will be like overall for all pages that we cover. We have also increased the contrast ratio, so that for some devices that has maybe like a scratched screen, or, you know, it hasn't always been easy to see what are in every text box. So now we're increasing the contrast to what we call AAA, which is the highest contrast across all the themes. And on top of that, we're also adding 2 high contrast modes that are even, above that, sort of going above the normal threshold. We're also including some new sound themes, and this is not something we've had before. Like before, everything was just a classic beep. We think it's about time we add some customization to this. It's going to be fun for the workers, we think. There was a recent study about joy and enjoying the work in Microsoft, and the conclusion is that it's not just about having fun. It makes them more productive, and there was like a lot of good things to say about maybe having some more personalization. So you can see here the emojis representing each theme. We're not going to play them for you today, but you can maybe use your imagination to think about what each will sound like.
So I will talk about the enhanced performance and capabilities. My name is Pedro. I'm the lead engineer for the new version that we're developing. One thing that I wanted to talk right away is like the apps are capable to load up to 60% faster if you compare with the previous one. And you also spend 40% less of memory. We also like are capable to rent some of the components native and use way more libraries for that, and also have way launch range of handling the like interaction that is possible. So, like on the previous app, we used to have some sluggish iterations about rendering. In this one, everything is way faster than it used to be. Back to Misa.
Yes, so we also, as probably many of you know, in the Xamarin version or the current that is out there that people are using, we could scan a barcode using the camera, but that was not optimal because it has some issues as well. There was an issue that we did not support all barcode types that are following industry standards using camera, which we do now. So we have added supports, and we have really now achieved fast camera scanning, because before sometimes phone was trying to sharpen the image, and even when the image was sharp, it took some time to take the barcode. And in the cases of where you will use the phone, it could be for the counting when you don't want to spend extra money to buy expensive rigid devices. It will also be nice that actually camera scans fast. And this has been achieved with the new platform. It's a very fast. And then we also have a support for the multiple barcode. What is that? In many situations in the warehouse, you will see that the barcodes are close to each other, which means that if you want to do a one barcode scan out of multiple, you will have very hard time to zoom with the camera. And if you go too close with the camera, then you will not be able to zoom it sharply enough to scan. So we have done that you can just hover over the barcodes with the camera. That will capture all of your barcodes, and then you will be able to select one on the WMA very quickly on the screen. Then what we also want to say that really opens the door to scan more barcodes and to do the camera scanning in general more useful for the demonstrations. But nevertheless, to consider using the phones as well in the warehouse for the processes that are not requiring a high beam or fast beam scanning. That could be, for instance, counting, inventory lookup, some manual movements, and so on. What we also have improved, it's that we all know the feature that we had that we, in some context, have called mass deployment. That was the ability which existed to either generate a JSON file or use the QR code, that was the idea at least, in order to send the configuration as a file or as a QR code to the multiple devices that can then just either upload the JSON file that is distributed by Intune or similar app, or the scanning the QR code. For now, it didn't work actually in the Xamarin that well. The QR code did not work in many occasions. That has been fixed in the new one. So now you can easily distribute your configurations using the complex QR codes as on the picture, or still as a JSON file. And you can do exactly the same using the rigid device, not only the camera, where the beam from Zebra or Honeywell device or any others will be used to do exactly the same QR code scan for the configuration setup. So we are really happy that this now works as it should.
Back to me. It's time to talk about network. I mean, network has always been a big problem in the warehouse, and it's we took the time to spend to actually to try to address this problem in the best way that we possibly can. So we incorporate a lot of like retry mechanism and like failure and resilience. We also handle way better, like, all the kind of failures that you might have and you imagine, for example, like at this time we differentiate what is, hey, you lost your connection, or you have a low Wi-Fi coverage or something like that. But what is more important is that the first time that we are using native network implementation instead of like something that was built on top of Microsoft. This is really good because it will for sure improve the DNS resolution. So it happens like, you have a warehouse work, yes? And they are like walking from section A to B. Like what happened is sometimes you lost connection because, you need to resolve the DNS again. And like the previous Xamarin version it could take up to 2 or 3 minutes just to resolve the DNS. And that's precious 2 or 3 minutes that is lost when you have so many warehouse workers doing so much movement during the day. And we really took care of we really improved this and this time. And not only that, but we incorporate some tool to self-diagnose, which is much better than what it used to do before. So this tool is not going to be shown up at random. It's like what you're going to do is you are going to get the current strength of the network. And at some point, you can actually ask it to get a full network diagnosis for you that will try to connect for your FNO server, will try to connect for Microsoft, will try to connect for everything. And then you have a report. And finally, you can connect your IT admin with something more like, hey, my network's not working, or something like that. You will finally be able to come with a full report and like get at least some initial diagnosis of your problem. And that's something that we are taking very dear to the heart. Let's talk about timeline, okay? Because we understand very much that warehouse release is very sensitive. You guys deal with some things that are very, very important. So we wanted to release this with as much quality as possible. And one thing that we are being very careful with this release.
So, and we also want to thank to everyone who has been part of our private preview that we have been running for a month or two. And we can share with you some bugs have been reported. We had 32 cases reported, 22 actual bugs that we fixed. And the stability and everything tells us that we are ready to go public preview. So, Taylor.
Yes, exactly. Thanks, Misa, for the compliment. On the public preview, it's going to be a bit different. It's not that we are going to push it straight away for the app stores. What we're going to do is we are going to publish for the app stores, but in open test mode. That means that only people that subscribe for the open test mode on Google, on Microsoft, or they go and download the APKs on the App Center, they will be able to actually to have this during the public preview. That's like just to know what the definition of public preview is. Why we're doing that? Because we wanted to expand even more the coverage of tests that we had, so we release even better products for you. So let's give a timeline here. Let's talk about the timeline. We will have a new version that will be released for maybe the last version for Xamarin, which is 3.07. It's going to be released in May 15. What does this version contain? Mostly it's just compliance and security stuff, but no really new features. But we have some security things that we are addressing there. And then on May 31, we finish the private preview. And in June 1st, we release the public preview. And that means that, if you are an open test from Microsoft or from Google, or you go to the App Center, you can download the new version there. And then and then after that, you can report bugs. You'll have like a communication channel that will be explaining the app and also in your blog, and you'll be capable to report bugs for us for that. But and can also using we recommend you to test and of course have a mixed environment where you have some of your workers using that and some of your workers using the old app while you still go to GA. Again, this is more of a try of us to go with the most quality as possible. We are try to be very careful of quality. The iOS will only be released in November, and you will get support from Xamarin up to May 2026. And supports, you can open a ticket, we'll investigate, but we will not release any new features for the Xamarin version. Let's go for GA. Okay, what GA is when we finally do what we normally do. We push out the version. The GA is expected for mid of August, but Microsoft will not release something that we don't feel ready to. So it depends of the feedback that we will collect with telemetry. We have telemetry to connect exceptions, obvious, not private data, but only exceptions, errors, this kind of thing, crash. And when we feel that the product is ready, then we will release for GA. But the idea is mid of August. And in that one, we will then push for the app stores, and we also, if you have the MDM, the software MDM, then you get the version and you decide on when you push it. It's up to you. But for people that get normal updates on the app stores, they will get the upgrade on around when you go GA. We also announce when you go GA, obvious, but you'll know. There will be some challenges, like the login, and you need to bear with us and a bit in here because we have rewritten the whole app for the sake of security, for the sake of improvement, for a lot of sake. And one of the consequences that is that everybody that's logged in on the Entra ID will need to be logged out. And that means that our users will be logged out. Then the only thing that you need to do one time only is you will log in every device using device code authentication or username after you. The same thing will continue there, but it's one-time disruption event. The good thing is if you log in on the public preview, you don't need to re-log in on the GA. So you can actually anticipate a bit and, be testing and be a bit proactive about how you are going to take this update. Okay? Regarding authentication methods, the other authentication methods will be mostly the same for Android, Windows, and iOS, except that device code flow will not be present on iOS. Okay, and the reason for that is Microsoft doesn't support, on the official library of iOS, doesn't support more device code flow. Because I think the idea in there is the device, iOS is more considered a final, a common user case for not B2C, but normal user for day to day. So it's not it's not common for the case of the warehouse to use iOS. It's also so that's why one of the reasons why they decide not to implement, and we need to follow the guidelines for that. Windows continues the same and Android continues the same as well. Now, when it comes for parallel support on the version 3.0, the legacy platform will be accessible until May 1st, 2026. After that, we'll delete the version for App Center. And the support for 3.0 will be limited for critical fixes. So, if you come, I would like to have this feature implemented on 3.0 because I don't want it to go to 4. That won't be possible. All new features will only be implemented for version 4. All the songs and all the stuff is only available in 4. So all the amazing work that Martin did is only going to be there. Support will provide... of course, if you have an emergency, and then we will consider that it's only happened because of some bug on the code, then we'll have a look, but that will be special case analysis.
Yeah, thanks, Pedro and team, for that great overview. We do have several questions that have been submitted to the chat. So I'll just remind everyone, if you've got additional questions, please post them now and we'll have the presenters answer them. So let me go through kind of in order as we receive them. And we may have addressed some of these as the presentation went along. But we had a question around the deadline for migrating to the new mobile app. So can we use both simultaneously for a controlled rollout at different locations? I think we covered some of this, but Pedro, do you want to clarify how the two apps will coexist?
There's no problem using both at the same time. You can use, you cannot use in the same device both, but you can use both at the same time, yes. So you can have, for example, half of your employees using version 3.7, half of using 4.0. It's actually not even you can try, but you should. It's actually a good idea.
Great. Thanks for clarifying. We have a couple of questions about the QR codes and the barcodes. So one question is, for the QR codes and multiple barcodes, must we define some new settings, or is this feature coming automatically?
No, actually, so the QR code reader, if you're referring for QR code reader to set up configuration, the configuration is still the same. So everything that worked before will work, okay? And if you use camera today, it's basically, you don't need to do anything. If the camera is working as it was working before, it will work now. And if you didn't use the camera before, I really suggest you just give it a try just to see how better and improved it is.
So we have another question about the barcodes. So this one is about, is it possible to scan multiple GS1 barcodes at once without the selection? So let's say we have 3 different GS1 barcodes on a label. Is it possible to process them all at once?
So I can take that one. The app itself, that does not have anything to do with how we scan GS1. Currently, the backend that it's actually exposing the fields that you need to go through as a mandatory fields to scan the information are fully working with GS1 as such. But if we have a separate screen for the information, then the rescan needs to happen. But we still, as we know, support GS1 as such. Multiple information with the prefixes and delimiters and everything have been improving it over the time. But in the future, we are aiming to change the backend, which will then, where it makes sense, have a multiple fields on the same page, which will give us possibility to do multi-population of the fields. I hope that answers the question.
We have a question next about I'll call it the UI of the app. So the question is, are we able to see the warehouse ID on top of the screen of the warehouse app, like to know what warehouse they're in?
We need to, actually we should be able, we should just adjust some things.
The answer is yes.
Yep, I think so. Yep.
The next question is about customizations, and I think this is common, and we may have addressed it briefly, but if we have customizations to existing menu items or custom menu items, is there a conversion process we need to conduct to convert these extensions to the new framework?
No, you don't need to do anything.
And the reason is because we haven't touched the backend. All of the guides that you probably have been customizing in order to achieve something else have still been untouched. So it should work for you still.
In fact, we have something to add, something funny. There were a bug on the previous app that the logo could not be displayed. And now we can show the logo of your company. So actually the opposite. Yeah.
And also in the animated way, if you want to do that.
Okay, we have another question just about we'll call it timeline. So will Microsoft push the update of the new version, or do the users need to update it manually? And I think we covered this a bit as well, but you want to clarify again, Pedro?
Yeah, we will actually in the beginning, basically for public preview, we will release, and it's up to the people, to the IT managers to actually decide when to pull and set up the APK. And when we get we preview that in around August, so mid of August, we'll be pushing for GA. But again, only if the quality is there. We are really taking serious quality, and only if the quality is there, only if feel like we're not getting too much errors or customers are content, and with the feedback is overwhelmed, posted.
Just add one announcement more on the app side. It's not directly connected to the React Native, but I just want to mention it. For those who don't know, we have released 2 features that are touching the RDEV GAN recently. One is ability to now define how long time device can stay untouched and then go in a log off mode. And the reason why we have done that is because the specifically medical industry have a requirements of being able to control on how long the device that somebody puts on the table it's accessible by others who might then misuse the scanning of another user. So now it's completely customizable. And what we also have done now is that if you are by any chance using the warehouse mobile app for packing that some customers are doing, so you don't need to stand in the front of the pack form and the packing stations. Now we have also released the feature that we are tracking the ID of people who have packed, even if you have multiple users who are packing into the same box, same line item. And we also are tracking now in the reports of who have closed the container. And all of that can be seen on the container screen.
Yeah, those are great callouts as well. I know we're, specifically talking just about the platform update here, but there are some kind of new features, as Mirza mentioned, that are kind of applicable to the mobile app as we're in this kind of wave one timeline. And be on the lookout. We have our What's New in Supply Chain Management Tech Talk that I'll be doing after the conference in Chicago next week. So we'll have a recording of that as well that covers more of those features. Okay, I see several other questions came in. I pushed them to our publish, so let me get back to where we were. We still have several questions. So let's see. We were on a question about also a display on the app. So bear with me, this is a little bit long. So all of our customers have a mobile device with a small display, so they can't see many lines. So it would be really perfect if there should be an option that, for example, the topic, item ID, and the value are in one line, not in two lines to save space. So perfect place would be in the field setup for the mobile device. Then for small topics with small values like quantity, item ID, and so on can display in one line. Maybe it's a new feature. Go ahead.
It's a very good question. And we have been asked by many companies to do similar things. And we have a company that provides devices called ProGlove that have small displays. Probably this is what people are referring to, probably. And we can disclose this, that we are currently working with the ProGlove development team. And we are going to test on all of their devices, both the one that are not having any displays and the one that have these small displays where the selected information is displayed using intents. So keep tuned. Very soon you will see something from us, documentation, how this can be done. And at least we'll be testing with the ProGlove series of devices.
Yeah, I see some clapping reactions. So that's good news. Thanks. And the next question is also another pretty popular one that we're here. Will there be any offline capability for the new mobile app?
So it's a question that it's, as you said, repeating. And we can give you yes and no. And what I mean with that is that currently we don't have any plans of being offline with the app as such. But in the future, at some point of time, we don't know if that will happen or when will happen. We might want to do some kind of resilience of having a small server that will then launch the work to the devices and synchronize asynchronously with the backend. But to be honest, don't quote me on this. We don't have any current plans. And the reason why we haven't done it until now is because we simply do not have, we haven't seen the large evidence among the very large number of our customers who are online. But there are some who have raised the concerns. What if? Yeah, that's the answer, I think, most precise we can give today. You want to say something?
Yeah, I mean, so far, it's a huge investment, so we're still debating that.
And I can explain why Microsoft just don't jump into this. The question is not if it is possible. Of course, it's doable, but having the terminal server of some kind locally that is serving the work to devices and getting synchronized in the backend with the cloud, it's fine, but we need to figure out how we support this, because often these will be behind the customer firewalls and whatnot, and we need to be 100% sure before we launch such a scenarios that we can support it at any point of time, so we don't have situations where these are not accessible to us. And so you can see there is a lot more than just how to channel the work locally somehow. So please be patient. We are thinking about it, and we will see.
We have another very popular question that followed this one, which is, will we ever get access to use the camera to take pictures from within the warehouse mobile app and then attach them right to source documents in the back end?
So this is a very good question, and we can expose a little bit. We are experimenting inside our team as well. So we have been experimenting, can we connect to the external services? That could be gamification service, that could be text-to-speech service, any else. And using the React Native platform, we actually succeeded of doing so in the experimental lab work. So we know that many people want to take picture of shipments as a proof of delivery and so on. So in the future, you will see us either explaining how you can integrate to Power Automate app or something else from the device in order to do so, or open for that you can do it directly. But we are very well aware of this ask. So thanks for asking it again.
The next question is more about the change with the platform. So will the user settings need to be reset? So like the scale, the field filtering, things like that. And will we still have configuration mode available? So two-part question.
You don't need to basically do anything regarding that. Once that your worker log in, you'll get the settings as it was before, and everything will be in effect.
Okay. And what about the configuration mode that we introduced for the app? We'll still have that, right, as well?
Yeah.
Great. Thanks for clarifying. We just have another upvote for the photo capture. So thanks for that. We talked about the multiple scan for the barcodes. Here's another question just about the platform. Is the desktop app changing as well?
The desktop app is changing as well, yes. It is completely rewritten also. And it's way faster and way... actually, the desktop app got the best rework for network compared with the others.
Okay. So yeah, you'll be able to just pull that the new platform version from the Windows Store for your desktop version. The next question is, will we have more control of the default data and work confirmation setup to skip more of the confirmation screens? So for example, the inventory movement process can force a user to click multiple checkboxes to confirm instead of just scanning the LP and the to location. So I don't think anything is changing with those existing configurations, but you guys can clarify?
Nothing changing related for that. We might work on that in the future, but we didn't change in that version of the system.
So a follow-on question, but it's more about the development of new features. So will developing new features be easier on the new platform? Does this mean that we can expect some of the more popular Microsoft ideas will be added easier and faster?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, definitely. We have way less code compared with to rewrite the whole application. We use way less code and way less resources, and for sure you should see something faster. And also, React Native is kind of like our old platform, so we don't expect to spend time again doing another migration like that in the future. Mm-hmm. Right, for now on, our focus should be on features, not migrations within technology.
Okay. We had an observation from somebody who's got a question on, they noticed the new look menus that we showed the screenshot of. You can see the carton and item counts. They ask, is this a new feature which will apply to all the mobile device menus relating to the remaining work to be picked and put away?
No, some of the stuff we showed are experimental builds, so we won't make any big changes like that in this release at least.
We have another question about multi-scanning. I think we've addressed this with the barcode, so I'm going to skip over. We do have a question about minimum hardware technical requirements to run the new application. I don't know that that's changed from the 3.0 version, but yeah, go ahead.
Question, actually. So we require now at least Android 7 to run the application. And that's the only change when it comes to Android. iOS is still like the same, and Windows is still the same, Windows 10 and 4. But with Android, we went from Android 5 to 7.
Okay, yeah, that's a good call out. So make sure you're using the latest Android operating system for the new platform update here. We have another just upvote for the feature to see the warehouse number at the top of the current screen when working in the app. So it sounds like that's a popular ask. I think we said earlier that should be achievable. We have a question on printing. So when we use the mobile app for inbound receiving, but we have to use the desktop UI to print product labels. So is there ability to print via the mobile app on a roadmap? This is specifically for product labels, not license plate labels.
I think this can come for the ideas, but not at this version. At least we are not addressing this issue on the version, but it's for sure something that we already took note. So, but it's one of the ideas that we have.
Thanks for clarifying. We have a question about ISV customizations being impacted. For example, any customizations on the login step. I think we addressed this, right? As far as nothing is changing with like the X++ code base. So
Actually, there is a customization in the login step. You can put your logo there now.
Yes, we did mention that.
Yes, but that's the only change then.
Okay. Yeah, so any other customizations that have been done through the process guide framework or otherwise shouldn't be impacted by taking this new platform, though. Okay. We have a question. The current app has a dev mode that allows debugging XML files and more. Will it be preserved? Yes, I think we said we would still have the configuration mode if that's what we're referring to.
Yeah, I mean, the options in dev mode are reduced. Like you have like less options in there that doesn't make sense on the new app. But most of the things that are important, like setting feature flags or network diagnostic or other features will be there, and also seeing logs will also be there. But a few things were removed from there.
Okay. And that's just because they weren't applicable to the new platform?
Yes, I mean, a lot of things didn't really make sense, but the configuration mode will be there. You can still play with that, and most of the things will be there, but just there. But it needed some cleaning up there.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for clarifying that. We had a question about the general availability timeline. We mentioned August. Is that this August or next August? It is this year, right? Targeted for this summer 2025.
It's this year, but to be honest, as we are launching, was our private preview was successful. We had 100 and almost 200 participants and great feedback. So we would really like everyone to participate in the public preview as well, because public preview participation and the results of it are paving the way for the GA. So,
and Mirza, can you clarify when is that public preview targeted? Is soon?
First, it's already carved in stone. 1st of June, we are releasing to public preview. We will announce it in all channels, what you need to do and how feedback should be shared. And then let's see. And just for one information, when people do upload an app with the public preview and do a login with it, they do not need to do that again when they are uptaking the GA app. So it has some advantages to test with the public preview in regards to login.
Yes. When it comes for August GA, the intention is August of going GA is mid of August 2025. But as I said before, it depends very much of the feedback that we get. You know, like to release on August 2025, we need to be everything is working great, and we need to be really high bar of quality. We won't release if we are not there. So we might postpone that, but I think we have done some tests already, and we are quite confident. So, but again, we wanted to push quality is important. So warehouse work, yes, it use the whole warehouse. Nobody wanted that.
Yeah. Thanks for clarifying. So, for the sake of the recording, the target dates are the public preview in about a month, June 1st, with a GA in August of this year, 2025. But again, that of course depends on the quality and any issues that are surfaced during the preview windows. The August date may be delayed. Okay, we have a question about the sound themes. Surprised this is the first question we got on this. But will they be able to change the sound per the warehouse worker preferences, or are they unchangeable? Meaning, like, do you have to set one theme for all the devices?
I mean, everybody can change to their own preference. So there's not like that everyone needs to use the same. People can have their own preference. They can change whenever they want. And we are looking in the future, maybe also to enable people to, it's not in this version, to actually upload and create their own sounds of interest. Because we want to also, as you will see, out of the selection of sounds that UX team has delivered, we also want to contribute to some extent with a really unique and maybe cheerful experience for the warehouse workers with these sounds.
Yeah, the whole point is to make it more personal. And we've also been out in warehouses and seen how some people put stickers on theirs, and like they feel like it's their device. They want to show that. So now they have an opportunity to find a color theme and a sound that they feel like fits them. And like Mirza said, we're not aiming to make too many changes in this release, but as soon as we have this React platform, we can start to add a lot of exciting features for you from now on.
And hence our experimentation, you can say, the gamification where you could organize the quiz or questions or something in team of people who are scanning in order to make the day as interesting as possible.
Yeah, React enables us to do a lot that we couldn't do before. Let's put it that way.
Okay, great. Yeah, I think that will be a nice addition with some of the personalization features. So we have several more that came in. We still got a bit of time, so we'll try to go through some more of the questions. I think we addressed this one as well, but is there a different login or authentication method with the new app? Because we just announced, within the last year that the user-based authentication change.
No, there is no new authentication method. It's the same as it used to be before. In fact, the connection that worked for the previous one, the connection settings, if you use the file to upload again, will work for the new one also. Okay,
great. And I think we already addressed the question on, is there any special hardware requirements? I guess we talked about the operating systems, but specific to the hardware, so the current models should all be able to essentially handle the upgrade.
Exactly. Actually, opposite on measurement on the metrics that I'm inside, we're actually consuming less hardware. So if you keep at least the same with the right operating system, that's great to go.
Okay. Thanks for that clarification. Mirza, a question on one of the features you mentioned for tracking who packed the containers. Is it going to use the worker login or the authenticated device login as the identifier?
The worker login, that's the whole idea. Because the ask for the customers was that they want to be able to backtrack who has added. And we have gone so far because, when we are packing, you have ability to have same line, 10 pieces packed by 2 people, 5 by 1 and 5 by the other. That is also there. So you can track it really detailed. And you can also see if somebody else, the third employee, closes the container. And all of that can be tracked on the container form.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for clarifying. We have another question about kind of the display on the mobile app and if this is changing with the new platform. But can the display limit of 50 records on the menu items using the data inquiry be higher to avoid the error that there are more records than can be displayed?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, you know how we have like the data inquiry on the mobile app, and so you can set up really essentially any kind of criteria, and it returns a list of cards essentially. But if there's more than 50 results today, the user sees a message at the end of the list that says there are more records than can be displayed. So the question is, can we increase this limit or get rid of the limit so that we can see all the results on the mobile app?
I think I need. Oh, that's a very good question. We don't have the limit on the React Native. I think there was like Xamarin limited just due to performance of like what you can render. But because React Native renders so much faster, we even didn't put this limit. And we try with 100, but I need actually to go back and check that one. But I think there won't be a limit anymore.
We have maybe another question about authentication. Does the application support single sign-on credential passing if it's part of a managed home screen multi-app kiosk deployment? So the managed home screen requires corporate-owned dedicated device with Microsoft Entra ID shared mode. Enrollment token and current documentation states that single sign-on is not supported for shared device mode.
We would love, actually, that's one of the features that is really dear for us, and it was not possible at all before, but that's one of the features that we, from the security perspective and engineer, is one of the features that we really would like to implement it, so it's in the roadmap for now. And the good thing is it can only be the roadmap for now because the previous technology didn't support. But we would love that, but as for now, no. But it's something that we really wanted to do.
Okay, great, thanks. We've got people also asking to potentially see the environment ID on the app. They're saying right now users can't see which environment they are logged in under when they're specifically performance testing. It's a big risk, and they found that what they need to do is rename the menus with the environment ID, such as UAT, so that they understand. Do we have this information under the About menu? I know that that's not shown on all the screens, but...
As for now, we don't, but we'll take the suggestion. We take a note for that, but as for now, we don't. But it's actually a good point, actually. We'll discuss this internally and see what to do.
Okay, yeah, it's good feedback.
Ask a question here. Will it be okay to go somewhere and have a look where we are, or whoever asked the question, do you expect it to be always visible while you work on the top?
I think they're asking for always visible, Mirza. Yeah. But feel free, whoever asked the question, or upvote as well.
I will conclude that it should be configurable because...
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I think so.
Like similar to the warehouse ask, yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Is it a good ask? We'll take notes of that.
Yeah. Yeah, we will share all the questions and the feedback, of course, with the team here. There is a question about the on-prem servers and application are still supported, on-prem deployment of the app.
Yes, they will be supported. There is no change. If you have it all on-premise very well configured, there shouldn't be any change for that. Just keep in mind that when you go on-premise, you just need to be sure that you follow the documentations and make sure that all the requirements are there. We have good documentation for that, so you should support.
We have an upvote for the horse neigh included as the scan sound. They have a customer that's been requesting this for a long time. I think that maybe is one of the options if we had a horse on the emojis list there.
I think we didn't have a horse, but I'll tell you right now, we'll add a horse.
We can add easy, but we have lots of other funny stuff. We have sheep. We have
lots of good stuff, right? Some of them are really silly, and some of them are more serious. So we'll let that be up to each worker how they feel on the day.
Yes. Can't wait to hear all the sounds in the warehouse. I'm sure that's going to be a riot.
promise that we will add a horse. We'll add a horse. Yes.
Add the horse. Yes. Somebody asked a good question about essentially business process documentation related to WMS, just like we have for order to cash and procure to pay. Yes, this falls under the inventory to deliver end-to-end business process. So you'll see things, business process areas under inventory to deliver, such as process inbound goods, process outbound goods, manage freight and transportation, right? So our classic kind of WMS and TMS processes fall under inventory to deliver. So please look for documentation on the Learn site under that end-to-end for anything WMS related. Mirza, maybe a question for you or anybody that wants to jump in. But we have a question on any new AI or Copilot features that are in the pipeline for the mobile app.
So we had this AI feature currently, which is insights into workloads and so on. And we are actually currently discussing as we speak to add in the future more advanced AI features like velocity prediction and completion, to give people personal view of current velocity versus the old velocity and prediction in the time when are we going to finish if we're continuing with this speed. And there's a lot of other requests we have collected, and let's see what we can deliver in the future. But is it any scenario in particular that we can hear here that people would like to see?
Yeah, if anybody's got Copilot or even agentic scenarios that they're looking for or considering developing, we would love that feedback. Feel free to put it in the chat here and we can share it with the team. Oh, this is maybe a good question. Will you consider sending an SMS short dispatch message to a group of users or to all users or a specific user? Like a push to the device. Did we talk about that?
This is very actually prioritized feature for us because we have been talking to many warehouse managers and we have been in the warehouses where the people are either shouting using megaphones, about it, but it's true, or we are seeing usage of own cell phones, which is not optimal, and even the walkie-talkie systems that people are called and which are also additional expenses. So we have now been thinking and will be grooming in the future how communication should happen, and also maybe utilizing some AI to get the easy answering from the workers on the floor because they probably don't have time or don't want to write long messages. So we will be able to provide some short messages that are there out the box just by clicking on it, that they can respond to a manager. And of course, managers should be able to send to everyone what needs to happen or to an individual worker. And I could imagine, as we have telemetry for everything, that we will be able to see the telemetry if the message has been seen or responded to and so on. Is that something that it's resonating in this forum?
Yeah, maybe upvote. There's a question posted there, published in the chat. You can upvote with the thumbs up or reactions if that's something that your company is also looking for. Okay, I'm going to wrap us up with the last question, which is there any documentation that's available now?
So no, because for the private preview, we have been collaborating with people directly who have been, and we published the documentation in a kind of private repositories where they could see how to install, how to use. But we are writing the blog as we speak, which will be released for all of these new functionalities and improvements for you before the public preview. And then, of course, as standards of Microsoft are requiring, before we go GA, we will need to have full-fledged documentation on everything, which more will be a small copy of that blog. And reason is that we are not allowed to publish documentation on the docs for the stuff that are not released yet. So we were going to do that via blog that everybody will be able to access, and we will announce it everywhere. And that blog will then be a foundation for us to release the real GA documentation.
Yes, thanks for that clarification. And hopefully that helps people understand why there's not something out there while we're in the preview modes.
I just want to say to everyone that keep tuned in the both on the LinkedIn, keep tuned on, of course, TechTalk, it's just recorded, and keep tuned on Yammer groups. We have a dedicated Yammer group, which many of you are already members. This will be a place where we will announce lots of things. So keep tuned. And thank you very much for all of the feedback you are giving us. You will get a horse sound. I see Martin is sneaking here, and look how to expose the environment that you are logged in before we go GA.
Yes, thank you. And I put the link to the specific Warehouse mobile app, Yammer or Viva Engage group that we've got so that you can follow along with announcements there as well. All right. Thanks, everybody.